What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Not Today. Listen, I stutter stepped. I don't know what that is.
That's two shows in a row.
I know.
You did that last time.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode. I think it's my Botox.
Look at in your mouth. You're getting it
I
inside the mouth.
I get Botox around my mouth. You never
around
know.
your lips, but not in the mouth.
No, that's filler. I'm
Oh.
talking about this is all Botox.
It
so
is?
sometimes, yeah. Welcome to another episode of Not Today. It's another and not. It's no. I should do warm-up exercises before we start every episode. Me.
That unique rabbit ate a.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. You say unique. Unique rabbit.
That's an exercise.
Read a book. I don't know. I think whatever you say, you just enunciate it. Doesn't matter what you say.
Oh, whatever. Anyways, welcome to another episode of Not Today, guys. I'm Jen Sturger.
Eddie Pence. I need a haircut again.
I need a lot of things, Eddie.
I need a haircut again.
This week has been one. Listen, it's been a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to bank episodes just because I'm on the road or Eddie's busy, but usually it's my fault.
Yeah, I'm not busy. Ever.
But you go on the road plenty.
I haven't been on the road in a while.
Yeah, but so I have been dealing with the hurricane sitch.
How are your folks?
Dude, not gonna lie, this one got scary.
Was it? Because they're not. Because I texted you before the hurricane hit. This is Hurricane Milton, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was going straight for Tampa.
You were like, so they're gonna evacuate?
Well, I was
now?
like, are they in like Tampa? Like here's the water, here's the bay. I can see the bay.
Yeah, my parents live about 20 miles from said bay.
Okay, so they're pretty far inland.
They are not at a risk for storm surge. Right. However, wind is a huge issue.
Yes, that's like my parents in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, they're also like they're like the highest house in their subdivision.
Again, like my parents, the flood water is not an issue. Wind is.
Yeah, like their neighbors are going to flood out because the water will run down my parents' house and into the neighbors' yards, which become lakes. And my parents' backyard did become a small retention pond.
Oh, okay.
But it was bad. You know, they lost power, I think, early in the day. Like they lost power earlier than most people. And my dad's like, yeah, I saw a transformer blow up behind us. He's like, I knew what happened right away because there was a flash and then we had nothing.
But he's got like military grade generators in his house.
He had the generators, so they ran those for a couple of days. But shit started to get dicey.
Yeah.
You know, they finally got power. I think they finally turned it back on sometime yesterday.
My God, so it was like a week
almost. It was about 5 days.
5 days.
Yeah. And the generators weren't meant to do that.
No.
You know what I mean? Like the generators are good for a couple of days,
right.
But propane's an issue, gas is an issue, everything's
What about
a shortage.
water, plumbing?
Water, they're on a well.
Oh, okay.
So good news, bad news, they have water.
Yeah.
Bad news, you got to boil it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the pumps and stuff.
Ugh.
I mean, it's fine as long as the generators are running.
Right.
You know, as long as the generators are running, you have clean water.
Right.
When the generators go off, you better boil that shit, you know? And my sister and her 3 babies came and stayed with my parents.
Oh, they all hunkered down at your parents' house?
Yeah, they all hunkered down at my parents' house.
What did the wind get up to there around your parents?
It was pretty gnarly, dude.
Yeah.
My parents have these giant oak trees in their backyard.
I should cut those down.
Prehistoric level oak trees, you know? And my dad goes, I'm not gonna lie. He goes, I'm gonna have to have somebody come out here and take off the tops of them. He goes, just because they were really whipping around.
Yeah.
And these are giant oaks. They're not little oaks.
Right.
So they had a couple of trees fall on the house. And it's crazy because when these night storms roll in, it's hard to gauge how bad things are because you don't see it.
You can't see.
You're in pitch black.
You just hear.
You hear. And you have to go off your hearing. So it's like, it's kind of like being in a quiet place.
Right.
You know what I mean? Exact opposite. You can't see shit, but you can hear. What is it? What's the movie with Sandra Bullock where she's blindfolded?
Oh, Bird something box?
Bird Box or whatever.
Is
yeah.
It Bird Box? I don't know.
Yeah. My dad was like, anyways, so my dad, I've never heard him sound scared.
Yeah.
And he actually sounded legitimately scared when I called him during the storm. He was like, I think next time this happens, we'll probably leave.
I think we should have left.
He's like, I think we'll leave next time. If it's above a Cat 3, he's like, I'm gone.
Yeah. There's no reason to sit there and risk your life.
I think he thought because they were so inland that it would not.
But something that big, the wind doesn't. You don't have to worry about the storm surge.
You have to remember, this is the first time Tampa's taken a direct hit in a long time.
Yeah.
like a really long time. And it didn't even come in through Tampa Bay. It came in through Siesta Key, which is like slightly south.
Right.
But my mom and my dad got like that north end of the storm, which was pretty
Yeah.
gnarly. But they had 3 giant trees come down on the house.
Oh.
But he's like, it's almost like the trees didn't fall. They just were like, I'm tired. And they like just laid down. They're like, I'm just gonna rest for a second. And they lay down, oddly enough, on the wing that they built on for my grandmother and my childhood bedroom.
Oh.
And I was like, man, if that's not a giant F you.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, she's not here. It's fine.
exactly. It's fine. No one's in this room except cats. Yeah, my room is now an unsanctioned cat sanctuary at my house. At my parents' house. What did your old room become at your parents' house?
Well, they don't live in the same house I grew up in.
Oh.
So.
But when you moved out, they were still in that house, no?
Yeah, but it was weird because they had moved into a new house right as I graduated high school.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went to college, I was only 3 hours away, so I'd come back every other week.
all the time.
Yeah, all the time. So I still had a room. I had my room. All my stuff just went into that room.
They never started like graduating your stuff into a closet and like slowly started.
That's kind of stayed my room.
Man, what's it like to have parents that love you?
Right. Then I moved to California, and they moved out of Virginia and down to South Carolina. And then I don't have a room there. I just have there's a closet with all my stuff, but I don't have a room. Like, I just have a room I stay in when
it's
I sleep
weird going
there.
back to what was once your room.
Yeah.
And seeing all the different iterations it has become since you moved out.
That would be strange because it's still the same house you grew up in, right?
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Well, my high school years, my parents very much did the same thing you did. We upgraded to a bigger house, right? My freshman year of high school.
Right.
And so like I had a room
Yeah.
and I was there for the first 2 years of college too, because my parents didn't want me going away. Because they didn't think I could handle it, and they were right. Anyways, but when I moved out, like all of the crazy stuff happened. So,
Right.
I think everything happens for a reason in that regard. But
Yeah.
my room became a weird like office workout room hybrid for a hot minute.
Right. It always becomes an office.
Yeah, it's always office is the first step.
And then some weird exercise equipment gets put in.
Exercise, yeah, exactly. Exercise equipment. There was like a fold-up treadmill that had like a desk on it and stuff like
and then
that.
like some non-working television.
Yep, that's definitely
stuff.
that definitely is in there. And then when my mom started fostering full time, it became like the kitten playroom for the fosters. So like when I would go home, she'd be like, "You can stay in your old room," because they still had a Murphy bed.
Right.
But it was literally like pulling down a Murphy bed and then being attacked by a pack of
feral
rabid
cats.
kittens. And now that my sister has had babies, now it's a nursery.
Okay.
But now it's like I still have a room. There's the Murphy bed still in there.
Right.
But now I'm just surrounded by all these toys that Eddie, I shit you not. There's like these things, and I don't know if we have any parents that listen to the show. They're these toys called Linkables. Linkables. And they all talk to each other.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So in the middle of the night,
No.
if one of them accidentally gets left on,
no.
it'll be like, "I'm Rabbit." And then like the other ones will start talking, and then they start
Do they wake each other up?
They wake each other up.
No. We drown those in the bathtub.
It's like,
no.
Imagine the scary feelings you had around Furbies back in the day.
Yeah.
You're probably too old for Furby.
Yeah, I am, but I knew what they were.
But you knew what they were. If you ever owned a Furby, you had to lock it in the closet.
Yeah.
Because one, Furbies had this weird like learning technology, which I thought was weird. I think Furbies were the original AI.
I think it was the test.
That was the
AI.
original Skynet.
It was the test to
Furbies.
see if we could handle it.
We couldn't. We locked him in a closet.
What was the little thing that I think millennials had? It was that little pocket thing where you had to feed it.
Are you talking about Tamagotchi?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, Tamagotchi. Those are making a comeback.
Are they?
Yeah.
Because that was, you had to feed it and then...
You had to feed it. You had to clean up its poop.
Right. But it was just this thing that was in your hand.
And you had to try to keep it alive, and it always died before second period.
See, like when I was going through high school, what they gave you a bag of flour.
A bag of flour.
And then it was a bag of flour, and you put a face on it, and you put clothes on it, and that was your baby.
And you were like, "I don't know who the dad is, but he's hideous."
I'm gonna get this wet and make some rolls. But it was a bag of flour, and you'd have to carry it around for like 2 weeks, every class, all the time.
If it got holes in it.
That was the challenge. Like, you have to take care of this like it's
so
a baby.
You all just look like cocaine dealers.
Yeah, everybody's walking around with a fucking bag of flour, and it's like people are walking out just covered like, "Oh, dude, don't go in there, man." It's fucking crazy. I don't know what happened.
So like it was like a home ec class or something?
Yeah, home ec, but it was to teach you how to
take care of a baby.
Yeah.
Right.
To have to teach you responsibility. Not so much like that's an actual baby, but it teaches you to be responsible for something and aware of something 24 hours a day.
So my high school one-upped that. And they gave you baby dolls.
Okay.
They gave you these like dolls that like would cry intermittently.
Oh no.
And you had to like take care of them when they would cry.
In school?
In school.
No.
In school, out of school, they'd wake you up in the middle of the night.
I take the batteries out.
My sister did. The problem is when you take the batteries out, it reports it to the teacher. So you get an F. No, Alex, what is the hellscape you are pulling up on the television right now?
It's a Furby connected to
Furby connected to Chat GPT shares how they would take over the world.
No,
yeah, we know.
I don't need Furbies taking over the world. Furbies and Chat GPT do not need to combine.
But yeah, so my old bedroom is just covered in these linkables.
That's frightening.
And they're terrifying.
No.
So when like the tree fell, I was like, I hope you take out the linkables.
Hope the linkables escaped through the hole in the wall.
Oh no, it's a tree. Let's sing a song about it. Oh. But yeah, it's been fun. What's been going on in your life? Any natural disasters?
Nothing here. Nothing happened here, natural disaster wise. I've been dealing with I've been feeling, because I'm a pretty patient person, right? Like I feel like throughout my life I've been.
You're very patient.
A lot of people are like, oh my God, you have such patience. Like
you're just waiting for death.
Right.
So you're very
kind of just like
you're just patient as fuck.
If I just sit here quiet long enough, death will eventually find me. And but lately I've been feeling frazzled, like a lot of just my patience is worn thin. Right. And it's a weird feeling for me because I've never had that before. Like even just like if I'm by myself driving, I'm just screaming at people.
That's
like,
not you.
Like
at
road.
all.
I know it's not.
You're not a road rager at all.
I'm just like, fucking drive. Like I'm just screaming at people in a car by myself.
I don't think I've ever seen you get angry.
I don't really get angry. I'm pretty even keeled, but there's part of me that's bubbling up, and I'm trying to figure out. And I was reading this article.
That's canned rage.
It might be a lot of repressed anger.
Yeah.
And I was reading like how I was reading this article about being how we're so overstimulated now that it is making our patience almost go away completely. We're getting very snappish with people in our lives, very argumentative with people in our lives because we're so overstimulated constantly from the world, from being on our phones all the time. We're constantly inputting information into our brains to the point where we're overloading our frontal cortex, I think is what they call it. And
that's your fight or flight.
It makes you in constant fight or flight because you're just so overstimulated.
Welcome to my world.
Right.
Buddy.
That must be what the tism feels like. You're just so inundated with information.
Yeah.
That you can't process it. And your brain just is like, just everybody fuck off. And you're just like, you lose your mind.
I think about this a lot because I get overwhelmed, especially in new situations a lot. And so being on the road is actually a lot harder for me than people assume it is because it's like you have to acclimate to a new room that you've never played.
Yeah.
A new surrounding you've never played, new people you've never played in front of. You know what I mean? Like it's different when it's in LA and there are venues that you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Or if it's a place you've been before, you're like, yeah, old hat, I know my way around here. But it's very different. And sometimes you just walk into a place and you're like, weird vibes.
Yeah.
And you have to find a way to adjust in the moment as a comic, you know? But no, I get this all the time.
Yeah.
But it makes me feel better to know that like other people are experiencing it. I think a lot of us are overwhelmed right now, especially with the election coming up.
Oh yeah.
And this isn't political commentary. This is just us going, hey, if you're getting tired of seeing shit, so is everyone else.
Yeah. Well,
like we just kind of want it done.
No matter which side you're on, and again, not to be political, both sides are screaming it's the end of the world, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
So at some point that seeps into your brain where you're like, you're in fight or flight, like, oh fuck, no matter what happens in 3 weeks,
it's going to be bad.
It's going to be the end of the world one way or the other.
Yeah.
And so we're in constant, and it's not
That's
just
why
that
you should vote Furby 2024.
Furby and Chat GPT.
She's got some great ideas.
Linkables. But that's why we're just so inundated with information constantly that our brains are just overloaded, and that's why we're just shorting out with each other.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It really, but we talk a little bit about some of the different therapies that I do. I have multiple therapists, shocker, but they all do different things,
Yeah.
and they all treat with different modalities because I don't feel like therapy is one size fits all. And one thing that I was noticing is I can rationalize everything. I
Yeah.
feel like we do a lot of that on this
Kinda.
podcast.
Yeah.
We talk through stuff. We intellectually understand what's going on. But I think something we're never taught how to do is how to like regulate emotions when they come up. So we're almost like scared of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We compartmentalize, we pretend they don't exist
Yeah.
until they become cancer. You know, I don't feel like people are ever taught how to like regulate their nervous system. You know, so I have this one lady that teaches you about how to live, they call it above the line and below the line.
Okay.
Okay. And like they call this little window space here your window of tolerance, right?
All right.
And so a lot of times when you feel activated and you're like,
Yeah. It's more of a peephole of tolerance at this point.
you're living above the line.
Okay.
That's what's happening. And what you have to do is
Yeah.
learn how, when you feel yourself above that line, how to like bring the RPMs back down so that you're like living in this space versus, again, the other end of this.
Yeah.
And this might happen to a lot of people, especially after the holidays, is after all the funds happened, after you've done all the travel, the excitement, the election is hopefully over and the country is still standing. A lot of people are going to fall below that line, and
Yeah.
they're not going to know what to do, because what happens is when you fall below the line,
Well, you're constantly up here. You're constantly being put up here, and all of a sudden you're down here.
you check out.
Yeah.
Your nervous system is broken.
Yeah.
And the reason that I found out that I was dealing with something like this was I literally Googled one day in the most autistic way possible. I said, I don't know how to laugh. I stopped laughing.
Oh.
Where when something made me want to laugh, I
Yeah.
just said, that's funny.
Yeah.
And it was more than just like the comic, that's funny.
Right.
It was like, no, I know I'm supposed to laugh at this and I can't.
Mm-hmm.
And when I Googled it, it was like, yeah, because that part of your brain breaks. And so if you ever go through like these periods in your life where like you find yourself not able to laugh, that's what's happening. You know, so I work with a lady, and she teaches me like different exercises that I can do when I feel that like energy ramping up.
Yeah.
And one of the things she tells me to do is to like visualize what that energy looks like. Right? Like, what does yours look like when you're like getting that like wound up feeling?
Visualize it.
Yeah. What would it look like?
I have no fucking
Like for
idea.
me, when she was like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah.
Like, what does that
What does it
feeling
look like?
like? Mine
Yeah.
looks like a kid coloring really, really hard with a bunch of crayons.
Okay.
And it's just like all over the place, and it's like frantic, and it's like angry, and it's like it's like desperately trying to get that energy out.
Right.
That's what it looks like.
Okay.
And she's like, that's like a beautiful description of what this feels like.
Okay.
And she's like, but can you take that energy outside of yourself and put it like in front of you? Because if you can do that, it's almost like you go, okay, it's no longer in me anymore. And it's weird how just visualizing, taking that out of your body and putting it in front of you
Right.
kind of like separates you from it. And then like the way she tests your tolerance and like how you're able to go in and out of it, because you feel this like relief when you do that, right? But then she'll go, okay, now walk over across the room and touch like the edge of that and feel just like what it feels like to have a little bit of it. And then if it gets too much,
Wait,
just
so
pull
you're
away.
sitting in a room visualizing putting this energy over there.
Yeah.
And then you walk over there and kind of touch it.
Yeah, you don't physically walk over there, but she'll be like in your head.
In your head,
go
go over
over
there.
and just touch the edge of it.
See,
and so you feel a little bit of that energy, and you'll be like, okay, that's enough. It didn't hurt me. It didn't hurt me.
Right.
It's just something that's out there, and it like separates you from this like crazy energy that you're having.
See, I don't think I can do that.
You can, Eddie. It's a
Because I have this part of my
practice.
brain where I'm just like, this is fucking ridiculous. What are you doing?
Dude,
There's no energy you're putting out. You're not taking any energy out of your body.
it's a visual thing though, and if
I
you're
know, but
if you're
it's-
creative,
It's the visualization of it where I have this asshole in my head that goes, this is stupid. Just stop.
yeah. And trust me, I did too. But you get to a point where you're just like, I just want relief.
Right.
I want relief that doesn't involve drugs, that doesn't involve numbing out, that doesn't involve
I just want the numbing out part. So give me the drugs. At this point.
no, it's not worth it, dude. Because when the drugs wear off, you're still like so many people. That's how so many people become alcoholics or
That's why I
dependent
don't
on
drink.
substances.
If I drank, I'd be dead.
No, I feel like most people would
Yeah.
be. But this is like when you learn that you can remove stuff like out of your, like, that's not me.
Yeah.
It really does help your reaction time. in real time. And hopefully this like helps somebody. If anybody's ever interested in learning about it, not to like break my own HIPAA laws, but like the lady that I found was this woman called myshrink.com. And literally,
Oh, it's like an app?
She has an app, yeah, that you can use, that if you don't want to have sessions with like a person, you can just use an app.
Interesting.
You can use a program and it teaches you all about like how to work your nervous system and how to stretch it and how to accept it too. When like you fall below the line, she doesn't tell me like fight it.
Right.
You know, she's like, go with the tired. She's like, if you feel tired, go with the tired. She's like, when you're tired in that way, your body's not going to let you sleep for long. So what happens is like you end up being like, whoa. And that's when you have these like little spikes of energy that like are like your body's trying to wake itself up from falling below the line. If you've ever been trying to fall asleep.
Yeah, well, that's every day.
And
every night
but you have that moment where you're like, blah, 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 blah. That's one of those spikes. Do you know what I mean? You've never had that where you're like falling asleep and all of a sudden you're like,
I do, but I'm like, okay, I'm tired right now. So I'm like, fuck, I'm not tired anymore. God damn it.
That's what that is. That's a spike.
But I want to just go to sleep.
Yeah. Well, you just have to keep following the tired, Eddie. It's learning how a nervous system works. I find this shit so fascinating. It's one of my hyperfixations. I think it's way more useful than trains. So listen, if you're going to hyperfixate on something, why not hyperfixate on the thing that's going to make you better?
Trains are pointless at this point.
Yeah. Useless mode of transportation.
I don't know. I gotta do something. I'm thinking about just deleting Twitter is what I might end up just doing.
Oh, I'm barely on Twitter.
That might be my first step.
Twitter, honestly, and I feel like this might be having something to do with it. Twitter, I feel like is more disorganized than ever.
Well, yeah.
Like
because you have a crazy person in charge.
Your algorithm is destroyed.
Yes.
Like the priority is all gone. People can pay to be prioritized on that app. It's not what it used to be. Twitter used to be like this super important tool. Like I found out we killed Osama bin Laden on Twitter.
Yeah, it was a great place to get information.
From The Rock, which is an insane plot point. The Rock tweeted it.
No, it used to be a way to get information. It used to be a way to share information. It used to be an entertainment tool for people like, hell, this is a funny tweet. This is something. This is a joke. Let me put it out there and see if it gets a laugh.
You know what doesn't hit anymore on Twitter? Jokes.
No, it's
people don't understand it.
Just a shit pool of crazy people.
Yeah.
And I sit there and I scroll. I'm like, look how the world is on fire. And then it puts me in that fight or flight mode. And then I have no patience.
1,000% you need to delete Twitter. Or just not use it.
I just gotta delete it.
Like it's on my phone.
It's just a shit.
I can't tell you the last time
run
that I
by
opened
a crazy
it.
person.
I only open it when I hear something else happens, and I'm like, I just want to see what the consensus is of the world.
Yeah.
But then I remember the internet's not real.
Especially that.
The internet's not real, Eddie. Like if anything, the last couple weeks have taught me, with the New York Post article and stuff coming out, is that there is just a small minority that is very loud and very angry because they're feeling displaced by society.
Yeah.
And they are the ones that are just sitting there going down a list of like, who can I attack today in the public? Because it's easy to attack someone you've never met.
Sure.
But when that person becomes a person to you,
you like, think twice about attacking someone.
Yeah. Like I don't think that people that say the stuff to me on the internet would have the balls to say it to my face.
No.
Very rarely.
Most of them rarely leave their house anyway, so you never meet them anyway.
Yeah, and the ones that do have the confidence to say it to my face, I don't want them to have my address. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, Twitter is it's an interesting case study because
we're not evolved enough to deal with it.
I'm just trying to think if there's an app or if there's I guess MySpace. I was trying to think of like what was like another collapse of like a big thing that was really important for a while.
Well, MySpace right? collapsed because it became nothing but spam. Spam killed MySpace.
Really?
It just got to the point where everything was was just some sort of advertisement or spam, and it just.
But that's kind of what feels like is happening to Twitter.
Yeah, but that's because some crazy person took it over, and the value of it's dropped so much. Now it just has to become all ads in order to even stay functional.
Yeah. It's
but that's why.
It is the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
MySpace, did Tom let it get away?
I think it's
you ever wonder what happened to Tom from MySpace?
Dude, he fucking made $1 billion and is happy somewhere.
He's just watching the world burn.
Watching the world, but look what I had a part in.
Yeah.
That was just the evolutionary. It was what, Friendster?
I wonder if he's still
MySpace,
on it.
Facebook, Twitter, and that's the evolutionary process.
I'd love to talk to him. I bet he's fascinating.
Probably.
But he also had the weirdest profile pic ever.
Just him in the front of that whiteboard?
Just him in front of the whiteboard. I thought he was sitting at a desk or something.
I don't know what he was doing, but he's probably on a beach somewhere.
Just laughing at all of us.
Laughing at everybody with his money.
Yeah. Friendster. Did you ever have
Friendster
that
was
one?
first, and then it was MySpace. I never had
MySpace.
Friendster. I had MySpace.
I had
I love MySpace. Top 8. I loved having a top 8.
I don't know, dude. Top 8s are dodgy.
But then it got crazy. It was a top 5.
Top 8
and it
was
top
like
8.
top 8 was how you found out people were mad at you.
But we had a ranking. We all had power rankings, and that was nice. It was nice to have power rankings.
You had to wait for the AP poll to come out
Right.
every week.
But it was nice to have power rankings.
Oh shit! Eddie dropped 3 spots.
Right. And you're like, I got to up my game. I got to be a better friend. And we had a power rank, and we were there to serve each other. It was better. There was, you knew, you had a status. You knew where you
We're not going to make the
were.
friend bowl this year.
You knew where you were.
Oh my god.
Top 8 was great.
Mm-mm. Top 8 for girls is dodgy.
Yeah. Oh, sure. But it's a great way to send out like, hey, you know,
That was the most
I'm putting you on
passive-aggressive
notice.
way possible.
I'm putting you on notice.
Oh, what did someone have to do to be in your top 8? Like, I think most of. Did you ever have celebrities in your top 8, or were they
No,
real people?
They were real people.
Yeah, me too.
I
They were
said-
people I had to know in real
It
life.
was usually people I'd known the longest
To be fair,
on MySpace.
I was a celebrity when MySpace was out.
Wow.
Remember?
I was like at one point on when they had MySpace comedy.
Mm-hmm.
At one point I was in the top 10 in comedians
Eddie, do you ever think we're just ahead of our time?
for a moment.
Do you ever feel like we're just ahead
I
of our
was.
I was the most popular person on Facebook. They literally, I shit you not, used to call me the Facebook princess.
Well, that would make sense because you kind of like
And then I denounced the throne. No, I'm joking.
well, your popularity, your introduction into pop culture sort of happened
was
right
college.
was sort of around the time
and you-
Facebook was huge in college.
Yes, and you had to have
Yeah.
an EDU
To get Facebook.
to get Facebook.
So that would make sense.
This is before your parents could get on it and ruin shit, kids.
Yeah.
But
Before-
yeah.
Where your fucking crazy uncle got on there and started spreading shit around.
Yeah. Man.
So that makes sense. You were the most popular person on Facebook at one time because it was all college and you were
Yeah.
at the.
I tried to explain that to a kid, like to a younger comic the other day, and they were like, that's cool. And I was like, God damn it.
Fuck you.
If this was TikTok, you'd be super impressed right now. I hate it here.
Yeah, so do I.
Oh,
So do I.
well, Eddie, I know it's been a shorter episode, but I feel like, is it time?
Is it time?
I feel like it's time.
Alex.
What?
All right, we're going to play Florida Man Friday. I
Here we
read
are.
Jen Sturger 3 Florida Man headlines, 2 real, 1 fake.
I
and
think,
she has to
is
tell
Alex
me.
almost caught up with me?
I think
11
it's
to 9.
with 11 to 9.
Yeah.
He's playing on behalf of the studio.
Yeah. But most of those points are mine.
But he's the captain of the team.
He's the MVP.
He's the ace in the rotation.
He's the
Definitely
MVP.
rookie right
He's
now.
the
Be
ace.
careful. Sometimes when you're too big of a star, you know, the quarterback gets you.
He's definitely the ace of the
Transferred.
rotation.
We're watching Jen, all right?
All right, here
see
we
it.
go.
Watch
Here we go.
Jen when you tell her.
Just
What?
study Jen's reactions. Florida man loses arm to alligator after using pond as a bathroom. Florida man arrested for sexually molesting manatee mannequin at restaurant. Florida man arrested for causing disturbance in St. Petersburg convenience store while trying to get a refund for a sandwich he ate in 2006.
Yo.
2 of those happened. 1 has not happened yet.
I think C is the fake one.
C's the fake one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dang.
Alex?
Yeah, I'm going to go.
You
C
both
as
going
the fake
C?
one. Yeah.
You're both right. I
Nice.
made that one up.
Nice.
Woo!
What gave it away?
The other
What-
2 were too real.
The other 2, I think I know what restaurant it is with the manatee. I was like, oh no, that for sure happened.
It happened in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, he totally groped that manatee's titties.
Happened in St. Petersburg.
Manatitties.
Man of titties. Man on titties.
And then for sure someone totally has shit in a pond before and suffered the consequences.
Yeah, the line for the restroom was extremely long, so he decided to walk behind the restaurant and relieve himself at a pond. At the
That's-
time, He couldn't see how big the pond was, and he fell into the water, and an alligator bit his arm off.
Dude,
Hate when that happens.
that doesn't sound like something a Florida man did. It sounds like something a man in Florida did that
Right.
is not from Florida.
You
know
think
what
a
I
Florida
mean?
man would have realized that there's a
A
pond there.
Florida man knows
There's
you don't go
alligators.
in water you don't see the bottom of. That's the thing. That's the thing. I know we're near the end of the show,
Yeah.
but like I had friends that used to always be like, "Come out on the lake. We're gonna do wave runners. And we're gonna
No.
go tubing." And I was like, "Are
No.
you insane?
I like my limbs.
Are you insane?" I'm like, that sounds like a great way to get dragged underwater.
No. My cousin in Myrtle Beach was like, because they live right on the intercoastal waterway.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Oh, dude. And I'm out there, and he had a boat, and we're out there like paddle, like, you know, you get on
that's
the.
where sharks and gators are
Dude,
like, let's battle.
I didn't know this. I'm on the tube, and they're pulling the thing along, and then I was like, "Oh, that was fun." And then I got back in the boat, and we're driving back home. Like, there's fucking alligators swimming. I'm like, "What the? No one told me." There
and
was
you were just
fucking.
like, "Derp, derp,
I'm
derp."
like, dude, and there's fucking alligators. You see them. There's like multiple alligators in the water. I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah. I look at some of the
Last
stuff
time
we
I did that.
Yeah, I look at some of the stuff we did back in the day and I was like, oh, we had no business doing some of the stuff we did.
No.
Like one of my most vivid memories in high school, and there aren't a lot of them because I've blocked out a lot of high school, which
Yeah.
should tell you how great it was. Was like going to this campfire thing that we did in the woods, but you
Yeah.
had to have a 4-wheel drive vehicle to get there.
No.
And like there were like these big sand dunes. And I was like, what were we thinking?
No.
Like we could have totally tipped that SUV. That's how steep these dunes were. And we were just like, you know when you just think you're invincible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to have high school. We used to have boxing matches after school. Some kid had like 2 pairs of boxing gloves,
You had a fight club.
and we had a fight club. And we would go to the tennis court
Did you
in the park.
Did you list it on your college application?
I didn't. No, because you don't talk about it. You don't talk about fight
You're
club.
like, God damn, I need more extracurriculars.
And we literally stand around. Like, I never participated because I'm like, I'm gonna go punch someone in the face.
maybe
but
you'd be having way less anxiety. If
I
you did
might.
punch
I
somebody in the
might be more
face.
relaxed if I fought. But we would stand around, watch our friends just punch each other in the face. Like, what are we doing?
World star.
What are
You
we
were the
doing?
original world star. See?
Fucking insane.
Someone did ask me a really great question though before we get going. They were like, "What's the origin story with you and Eddie?"
Oh,
Like,
oh.
yeah. How did we become friends? They're like, we're always intrigued about what the origin story is.
My memory of meeting you, we were at the John Lovitz Comedy Club.
Oh, R.I.P.
Rest in peace. At Universal City
He's
Walk.
alive, I think. Yes.
Yes,
still
he's alive.
He's
His comedy
alive. The
club
comedy
is
club
no
is
longer
not.
there. It's now
It
a
was
sheriff
such
station.
a weird club.
It's a very awful. It used to be the BB King's Jazz and Blues Club.
Yeah.
So it was a music stage. Anyway, we had a mutual friend, Johnny LaQuasto,
Mm-hmm.
and I was there doing stand up one night, and I guess you had just moved to town
Yeah.
from New York. This was like 2012,
Yeah.
and he brought you to one of his stand up shows, and I was on the bill, and yeah, so that was my memory of,
Yeah.
and that's when I was like, okay, I think we have a similar sense of humor.
Yeah. Gallows humor.
Yeah, I think
It's very dark humor.
Yeah.
Someone told me recently that I'm too negative, and you're like, that's your charm.
I was like, that's your charm. You're Wednesday Addams.
I am.
If Wednesday Addams was real, you are her.
If Wednesday Addams were nothing but athleisure,
Yeah. But that's
she is dark, slightly on the spectrum.
but that's how we met, right? That's
I think
the
that's how we
memory I
met.
have. And then we started a wrestling podcast soon after.
Truly, like those couple years of my life were such a blur because I was coming off being on Xanax for several years because of the Favre stuff.
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
met me shortly after the Favre stuff.
I met you
This was probably 2012, 2013.
this was like fall of 2012.
Yeah. And I
believe
was
that's when met you.
literally I was going through a major rehaul in my life. You know what I mean? Like was recovering from all the eating disorder stuff, was recovering from all of the Favre stuff, getting off Xanax. Like that was a really hard time in my life. So like there are bits and pieces that I'm just like, yeah, sure, I'll buy that. Now that you're saying it, I'm like, that's probably how that happened.
Yeah, yeah.
I
That's what I
guarantee we
remember.
both made fun of Johnny. So I'll be that's like I'm like, yeah, those
But to
details
know Johnny.
those
to make fun of
details
Johnny.
track. Yeah. Those details track. But yeah, if someone asked me what our origin story was, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, Eddie's just always felt like that big brother that I was like, I was supposed to have.
Mm.
and you just ended up in Virginia.
Or you ended up in Florida, one of the two.
It does make a lot of sense, honestly.
But yeah,
But
that's
anyways.
I believe that's where it started,
Oh,
if I remember, if memory
John
serves.
Lovitz, man,
So
that place.
yeah.
We've played some really places.
Yeah. I have played some places.
We've played some places. Oh, Eddie, where can people find you? Speaking of that.
You can check me out at eddiepence.com or at Eddie Pence on all the socials.
I am at Jennifer Sturger, guys, on all the socials. Plus, you can go to my website. I think it's jensturger.com. Tour dates are there. They're posted on my link tree. I have so many dates coming up. Please come out and see me, especially in Chicago, New York Comedy Festival. And Orlando, San Francisco. Like, those are the shows that are like my babies.
Are you going to Canada? You're going to Canada.
I'm going to Canada this weekend.
Okay.
I will be in Phoenix on Thursday, so this will already
this has already come out. Since
I was in Phoenix yesterday. I time traveled. And then I'm in Montreal and Toronto this weekend. So can't wait to see you, Canadians.
Yeah,
if you see this, we had fun. Someone actually told me, they're like, "Oh, I don't know how you do in Thunder Bay." And I was
had fun in Thunder Bay.
I was like, we thrived in Thunder Bay.
I mean, it was only 48 hours.
But we thrived.
Yeah, I had
like
a good time.
shows were fun.
Shows were great. I had a blast on those shows.
I feel like the bar was
It was
great.
snowing in May.
Yeah.
So that was difficult to wrap my head around.
That was weird. We neither of us packed adequately for that.
I don't know if I'd want to be there for 72 hours, but 48 was great.
But someone was just like, "Oh man, good luck in Canada." And I was like, I don't know. I feel like they'll get me.
Yeah, I like Canada. I like going. I've always had good shows in Canada.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for all the love and support you show the show. Keep doing it. You're doing a great job. Like, subscribe, share us with a friend.
Please.
Review the pod. You guys are doing such a good job with all that. Leave comments on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many different ways you can support the show. We're working on bringing on some cool sponsors soon. So, yeah, if we say stuff that resonates with you, chime in. And we know Eddie still owes you Wolf Pee.
I know.
So.
You owe me money. We never hit the money mark.
Oh, it's coming. Anyways, guys, we'll see you next time on Not Today. Bye.